I think most of the boys will relate to this scenario because they have this duty to get the bikes and the two-wheelers repaired, right? So one fine Sunday, you people take your time out, you take your bike to the garage guy and you tell them to service it. And then you tell them to give me a call once it's done. And then you go in the evening to pick it up. Yes or no? Yes. But have you people ever gave a thought about it? That how many responsibilities you are giving to that poor garage guy? That first of all, he needs to repair your bike. And then he has to call you to let you know that your bike has been serviced. So come and take your bike now. Now, how many responsibilities for each customer does that poor garage guy have? Two responsibilities. So if on that Sunday he is getting 50 customers, he will have 100 tasks to do. And how much is it for that poor garage guy to do 100 tasks? So is there any better thing we can do for him? Is there a better way we can help him out in any possible way? Let's understand that part here. Let me create that scenario actually in programming for you. Let's say you go to the garage guy and what he has to do is repair your bike. So he has one function to perform, that is bike repair, right? Now in this bike repair, okay, let's make it more readable. Inside bike repair, let's say he will perform certain tasks, that he will start working on the bike. Then uske baad, just put this up over here. Console.log off. Let's say he will be changing the engine oil. Then he is going to fix the brakes. Maybe he will then check alignment. And let's say I don't know many things in servicing part. So I'll say he will wash the bike. Right? So let's say when it comes to repairing the bike, he will have certain set of actions to be taken care of. Right? So now that means what he will do is there's this bike repair function that he needs to execute for every single customer. The first thing he has to do is he has to execute this function. Once he has executed this function, then he will have the next function, which is to call the owner, right? Let's say this is a parametric function, which will take the input name of the customer to be informed. And what we will say is console.log. Let's use templates calling person A. And what you will say to that person A is take your bike back, right? We can say take bike back. This is what he has to do. But now think about it. For one customer, what he needs to do, he needs to execute two tasks. That is, first, he is going to call the bike repair function. And then once the bike is repaired, then he will be executing the second function, say call owner. Let's say the person name we have is Ashok. Yes or no, everyone. This is what he will have to do for every single customer. These two functions needs to be executed. And can I call the owner before bike is repaired? Can we call the owner? No. That means it has to be done sequentially. First bike needs to be repaired, then owner has to be called, right? But if we are having 50 customers, see how many tasks he will have, right? He will execute this 5 bike repair function, then call owner, 2 functions for one customer, then 2 for them, then 2 for them, right? Now the question is it possible that we can optimize this approach? Can we do something for him? Because we know that owner can only be called if bike is repaired. So that means this function should only be executed if this function has completed its task. Is there a way we can make it happen, but without making two different calls? Yes, it is possible. How? Let's understand. This is something we will do with the help of callbacks. Right? Let's now talk about callback function. I'll take the exact same example And now I'll tell you what callback means. It's just the introduction we will cover today, guys. Callback is 9th session where you will practically implement it. But I'm just introducing it in this session for you to have certain idea. Callback functions. Callback is again a general English term, right? We all use it. How do we use callbacks? Let's say I'm taking your session right now at this moment and my friend is calling me on my mobile phone. So what will I do? I will call back once the session is over, right? I'll call back once the session is over. But can you people think why I'm not picking it up right at this moment? Why can't I take that call right away? Why can't I take that call? Absolutely. Because I have a task. I am already executing a task at hand, right? I am having something to do first. Simple thing, I am taking the session, I have to deliver the session. Once I'm done delivering the session, then I can do anything. Correct? Now, keeping that logic in mind, that is exactly what callback functions do in programming. Now, what we are saying is, we know that first bike repair has to execute because unless the bike is repaired, owner should not be called. So, we will now call only the bike repair function. And what we will tell that bike repair function, once it is done completing all of its tasks, bike repair should then call the owner function. So bike repair should automatically call the next function. How would that happen, ma'am? So what we will do for that is, we will give here, we will pass the function call owner as an argument to this bike repair. Now pay attention over this part. What I did, call owner is a function and I'm passing that function as an argument. So ma'am, if you are giving argument, we need to have some parameter here. Let's call it as param1, right? Now what are we going to do is, once bike repair things are done, now we want this bike repair function to make a call. So we will say param1 and it should make a call to the person next in line. Now that poor garage guy has a single job to do, that is to execute this bike repair function. And what will happen? He will start working with the bike part. He will start executing the bike repair function. He will start working on the bike, changing the engine oils, fix the brake, check the alignment. He'll wash the bike. And once washing is done, then automatically Ashok will get a call. And what Ashok will get to hear? Take bike back. So basically, this is what callback is. Ma'am, what do you mean by callback? Callback is when you pass one function as an argument to other function. Right? Let me put that up over here. When we pass one function as argument to other function. So what are we doing? We are passing this call owner function as an argument to bike repair function. So first, bike repair will be done and then Ashok will get a call. Have a look on the output we get from. All of us pay attention. He works on the bike, changes the engine oil, fixes the brake, checks the alignment, washes the bike, and now he's calling Ashok to take the bike back. But how many responsibilities does the poor garage guy have now? Just one. Just one. Bike repair. He just called one. Let's understand this, Shreyansh, again. Do you understand this part that we passed an argument here to this function bike repair? And if I'm passing some argument here, this needs to be holded in some parameter. We learned parameter versus arguments, right? Yes. So now I'm saying whatever function you received, whatever parameter you received, we are using it. Guys, what was the param1 value we received? Call owner. So now just see what is happening here, Shreyansh. Call owner and now I am passing it a value. Isn't that argument? Isn't that function invocation? Isn't that how you invoke your functions? So that is how bike repair is actually calling the other function called call owner. So line number 96 is invocation of other function or the callback function. Yes, but param func is a function. Yes, and we are just passing that as an argument here. So I just passed the name. I have not invoked it. Invocation is done here. So round brackets are going to be here only. Okay, think about it in this way. What if we call the function call owner from function bike repair? So Charita, very good question. I'll tell you that part too. Okay, guys, nothing is complicated. Hear me out, everyone. Hear me out. Let me tell you what is this concept of callback is, right? Callback is when you pass one function as an argument to other, right? I am taking your session, so I have one task to execute. What is it? To complete this session. Shall I be picking any calls in between? No, that is something I should be doing after my first task is done, after I have completed this session. So then I will call back my friend. That is exactly the same thing. Unless the bike is repaired, owner should not be called. So we first are calling. Guys, first of all, everyone, what do you understand by this line? When I write here, say XYZ, and I put round brackets, what do you understand by line number 106? Everyone. You are calling some function, function invocation. Everyone understands this is how you invoke a function, right? Think about it now. Which function am I invoking here in line number 104? Which function is getting invoked? Which function is getting invoked? Bike repair. I have not added any round brackets and I have not given any Ashok right over here in call owner. Why? Because that would become invocation. I don't want owner to be called first. I want bike to be repaired first. So what have we done in that case? We have just written here the name of the function. It's just the name I am passing, right? It's just the name of the function I am passing here. Now, bike repair is called. So whichever function is invoked, that function execution will take place. Parent one received a value called call owner. I know that's a function. Function will be working if we invoke it. So then we are invoking it right over here. Right over here. Does that make sense to everyone? What is happening in this case? So we will call any function to other function only in calling back functions. Okay, that is something very difficult to interpret. We will call any function to other function only in callback functions. Pankaj, you need to make it little simpler for me to interpret it, right? Does that statement mean that we can only have this call owner directly inside through callback, or is it like we can directly make a call to it through bike repair? The question that Sucharita asked, is it that? Because you used functions many times. Can we pass the name as parameter in the first function itself? Okay, let's go line by line, guys. I'll go with the questions I first received. I think one question I received was from Sucharita. What if we call the function call owner from the function bike repair? So again, in that case, Sucharita, yes, you can directly call the call owner function. But why we are doing it through parameter and arguments is because tomorrow I may have another third function, say print bill. Bill also needs to be printed once the bike repair is done, correct? So instead of mentioning the names directly, we are keeping it in terms of parameters and values, right? So whatever value you will pass here, that will get invoked first. So child function will call the parent function in every case. First of all, there is no child and parent here. They are individual functions, Pankaj. This is not defined in bike repair. Definition is independent of each other. So no child and parent is here. It's just we have two different functions, but we are sequencing them that first this function will be invoked and then this function should get a call. That is the concept here. Rather than we making call to two different functions two times, we just will invoke one function. When that one function is completed, one function will automatically invoke the second function then. That is what the callbacks are doing here. The next person who was having a question after Sucharita is, can we pass the name as parameter in the first function itself? Nitin, where exactly? Is that Sucharita's question itself that, ma'am, can we do this? Is that what you are saying? Nitin, if I'm not interpreting it wrong. Let me know, is this what you have the question as in? Yes, so you can have any number of parameters here. Let's say if you are having something called name and then you are saying this will get a value, then it is okay, right? Like you can have as many multiple parameters as you want, but you just have to separate them with a comma. It is not child and parent relationship. No, it's not child and parent relationship at all. I mean, can we use this concept of functions calling another function out of this topic for particular scenario? We can. We can. And you will actually see how in the next session itself. Session number 9, start like right from the very start, entire 2 hours is all about callbacks. Yes. This is just to let you know the definition of callback. What is callback function? When you pass one function as an argument to other. So I have one function call owner, and rather than invoking it, I'm passing it to repair function. Repair function will perform its own task because that has been invoked first. And then we are invoking the next function inside the bike repair function. Right? And all those who are having this question, ma'am, why need to have this param? We could have had call owner directly over here. Yes, but different callbacks will produce different results. Right? So in case if tomorrow bike repair don't want to call the owner first, let's say he would like to check records first. So instead of call owner, I'll pass check records function, and it will also work with the same function. I don't have to make any change to the function definition then. I'll show you one activity for the same as well. Let me come back onto the slides first. Have a look over here. If param is a parameter, how can we call it as a function at line 96? So now you will tell me, Shreyansh, it was a parameter we received. What was the value inside param 1? Only call owner, right? That's what we passed. But now, if I'm going to use that call owner and put here round brackets and give some value Ashok, what does that mean? You said XYZ round brackets is function calling. Isn't that function invocation? Isn't that function invocation? Now we want to invoke that function, right? So we received a function name, but that function is useless unless we call it, unless we invoke it. So then we invoke the function by passing some parameter. So line number 96 is that's why known as function invocation. Swapnil, how do we call multiple owners at once? Again, Swapnil, for that to be customized, you will have to write one complete function, which will automatically keep on changing the inputs, right? Because not every time you will like to call the Ashok. So you will have to write a customized scenario over there that we will read the username, whosoever bike is now getting repaired. And accordingly, we will pass that name to this param one. That's a total different topic for the scenario. But that is exactly how we will do it. Customized function you will have to write. No direct way. You will write that up that, okay, we are reading the name whose bike is, let's say you have some bike token number. As per that, you are taking the token numbers or the username input. You will take that input. You will give that input name to this param one to call the user every time. That is how it would be. But you will have to create your own customized function for that. Can you explain this code, how it will be executed line by line? So line number 104 will execute first, Shreyansh. The flow of the code will be line 104 because that's a function invocation. Now this function invocation will shift the control to line number 89 because we invoked the bike repair function. Now code executes line by line. So 90, then 91, 92, 93, 94. After 94, 96, right? Or let's say 95. 95 is again a function invocation which will shift the code control to this part. This part gets executed and then your function gets completed. The entire function of bike repair. That is how it will be. Okay. In that case, pay attention to this, everyone. Is this a practical? No, Manish, as I already said, practical implementation of how callbacks are going to be used in programming world is session number 9. This is just to let you people know the definition. Obviously, right? As just now you said, we are not going to repair. We are not going to use callbacks to repair bikes, right? So this is just to tell you the definition here. It has no relation to this real world of repair shop. How they are used and implemented in programming is session number 9. Okay. So this was just to let you know the definition, what exactly the callback is. Callback is a function passed into another function as an argument, which has to be executed later on. So callback functions will be executed later on. They make sure that the function will not run before the task is completed, but it will run right after the main task has been completed. So right after the bike repair is done, it will execute the callback function, which is the call owner function. Right? Just that what I have explained you people over there. That instead of now having two different functions call, we can make it work that we will call bike repair. And once the repairing the work is done, then we will call the next function from there itself. Now just try out this activity to clear with the callback. It would be now much more clear over here. I have two different functions, sum, multiply, and then I'm having one more function called calculator. Now tell me what output I'll have for the two function calls I'm having on the bottom. Write your answers together and drop them up. 10 and 25. Okay, so far everyone is having the same answer. Everyone is having the same answer, 10 and 25. Absolutely correct it is, 10 and 25. Now that is exactly where you have your questions, right? So Charita, like you asked, right? This is where exactly we can understand that from too. See, I have this calculator function. Every time the input to this calculator function we are passing is a different function. Sometimes I'm passing sum, sometimes I'm passing multiply. But does that make any change to the calculator function? No. Every time, depending upon the new callback you pass, it is producing the different results. So different callback, different answers. 10 first time, 25 next time. So that is exactly what callbacks are doing, because you may have different function to in sequence to execute later on, right? So it completely depends upon the name you will pass. Now I could have called multiply and sum over here, but not every time I would like to perform sum and multiply, right? It can be sometimes I want to perform say sum, sometimes I would like to perform multiplication. So that depends upon the input, upon the type of operation we would like to perform. That is exactly where callback comes handy. Operation is declared where operation is a parameter, Ramandeep, which is getting an argument sum in the first call and multiply in the next call. So that's a parameter we define during the function definition, right? It's just a name. You can have even here num3, num4, any name. It's just a name that is going to hold the third argument passed.